Remember those days when your period wouldn't come on time? Or when it did, the pain and the flow would keep you in house arrest for days? Or perhaps that wasn't much of a thing for you. You only had problem skin, weight issues, and crazy mood swings? Or maybe now is the time when it's hit you. You're tired more easily, you're gaining weight, your skin tone is changing. There's hair loss, hot flashes, headaches, and of course, something we women have long been associated with. You're anxious, depressed, and low in self-confidence. And yet you haven't realized it has anything to do with you being you as a woman. What does that mean? You being you as a woman. Before I explain to you what I mean by this, you need to take note of the following symptoms and check if you faced or are facing any of these. Irregular, heavy, scanty, painful menses or PMS, about deep dryness of the skin and the mucous membranes, vascular changes, changes in skin tone, muscle weakness and loss of tone, weight gain, loss of bone density, thinning hair, irregular heartbeat, anxiety, headaches, hot flashes, night sweats, or vaginal dryness. If you've faced or are facing any of these symptoms, if you're having trouble peculiar to women's health, or you are a responsible woman who understands the importance of being disease-free, it is vital that you listen to this real-life experience where I fought medical apathy, I questioned limiting medical opinions, and I opened the doors of hope and health to thousands of people across the globe. I am Mary Thompson, and I am a clinical Ayurvedic specialist and Panchakarma specialist. I'm grateful to have been a recipient of the Charaka Award for Excellence in Ayurvedic Teaching, with the honor to have been given the title Ayurvedacharya. I'm a founding member and former secretary of the California Association of Ayurvedic Medicine. I graduated from the first graduating class of the California College of Ayurveda in 1997. Today, I want to answer some questions that will leave you rethinking how you want to feel about yourself, your body, how you want to transition from a place of physical as well as emotional suffering to a place of vitality, radiant health, and joyful confidence. Today, I have something deeply moving and impactful, an important experience for every woman to learn from. That's what I'd like to share with you. When I was 34 years old, I was diagnosed with uterine fibroids. These are typically benign tumors, but because of their location and form, it wasn't possible to determine that they were non-cancerous from ultrasound alone. I was advised to have exploratory surgery so the doctors could get a closer look at them. I was raised mainstream in the US. My mother was a nurse, and I thought doctors knew everything, so I willingly signed up for the surgery. I asked that if the tumors were indeed non-cancerous, that they leave the uterus in place. This was against the advice of the doctors, and I had to sign several documents to this effect. I had no children at the time, and I was told the fibroids had probably interfered with my childbearing potential. They told me that it was unlikely that I would ever have children because I was already so old. They pointed out that if I wasn't going to have children, that I didn't need to have a uterus. Still, I asked them to leave it in. After the surgery was complete, I woke in the most intense pain of my life. They had cut through the abdominal muscles to access the tumors, and I had both external and internal stitches. It would take me 6 weeks or longer to be able to work, drive, or even to vacuum. I was relieved to hear that the fibroids were benign tumors, no cancer. In the next breath, I was told that they had left 2 fibroids in place. They said this was because removing them would have jeopardized the health of the uterus. They again told me I should have simply had them remove it. They predicted that I would have to come back in a year or 2, and then they would have the surgery again, and at that time, they would perform a complete hysterectomy. I was distraught. I wasn't yet out of the recovery room, and they were already booking my return. When I had recovered more fully, I asked my primary doctor more questions. Why did these fibroids occur? What could I do to eradicate them so that I wouldn't need surgery again? What could I do to improve the health of my reproductive tract so that childbearing was possible? Each question was met with a shrug. He didn't know why they'd occurred. For my age and the type of fibroids, it was anomalous. It was just one of those things that happens. For ridding myself of the ones left behind, he held out no hope. He said they would continue to grow and that I would need another surgery, though he couldn't say exactly when. As to improving the health of my reproductive system, he looked at me with compassion when he told me that I was just too old to consider that very likely. I was devastated. My entire belief system in the infallibility of doctors was shattered. He didn't know. Medication and surgery were the only tools in his toolkit. I had to find another way. I was committed to avoiding another surgery and getting as healthy as possible. This commitment led me to Western herbalism and natural health care. One day, in an herb class, the teacher mentioned the word Ayurveda. I interrupted her. What was that word? I'd never heard it before. I had her spell the word. She gave me a few book titles for further study. I don't remember anything else that she said that day. I knew that I had to learn more about this. I left class and drove to the bookstore. I bought 5 books on Ayurveda and I began to pour through them. I learned about the elements, the doshas, and the causes of imbalance. I looked at my diet and my lifestyle and I knew that I had created my condition, but that I also had the power in my hands to correct it. That began my informal study of Ayurveda for my own health. Eventually, my commitment to Ayurvedic self-care, including huge changes in my diet and lifestyle, I recovered the health of my reproductive system. After being told at 34 that conception was unlikely, I gave birth to my son when I was 43. He was born at home in a natural, drug-free birth with my family and friends around. I believe that we have the opportunity in every moment to choose greater health and happiness or to turn away from it. I believe that each person has the ability and the responsibility to know themselves and to make the best choices for their physical, mental, and emotional benefit. I believe that our imbalances are not cured by herbs or by medicines, but rather by our diet and our lifestyle choices. Medicines may help me manage a symptom, but they don't fix the problem. I often say that you don't have a headache because you have a deficiency of skullcap. Though medication may rid you of the symptoms, it will not eradicate the cause. I believe that everyone deserves to be seen and heard. Ayurveda has opened my eyes to compassion for the challenges that others are facing, knowing that the doshas drive our unconscious tendencies until we bring our awareness to them. My most moving Ayurvedic experience has been the recovery of my reproductive system and the birth of my son. That was, for me, the hallmark of Ayurveda's effect on my life. Beyond my physical health, the deepening of understanding of the self and other I see as magical. I've been able to heal from old, deep emotional wounds by moving to more clarity and acceptance using Ayurvedic psychology. My sense of happiness and satisfaction with my life is directly related to my experience with Ayurveda. For clients, I remember one woman who had chronic fatigue. She was only able to work and sleep. She would wake up, go to work, eat dinner, and go to bed. When I met her, she was wearing gray and black clothing. Her hair was disheveled, self-care was beyond her. Her quality of life was very low, and she was deeply unhappy with her life. In this instance, I assessed what she was going through, a kapha imbalance. I made some herbal, dietary, and lifestyle recommendations. Mostly, I wanted her to stretch in the morning, in bed if she needed to, drink more water during the day, and walk at a local park before going home. My intention was to increase the flow of prana, or life force energy, in her body. She was okay with stretching in bed and drinking water, but walking seemed beyond her reach. We settled on her going to a local park before heading home and watching other people walk. Although I was positive in my suggestion to her, both she and I were skeptical of the overall benefit. I didn't share my skepticism with her, though she shared hers with me. We agreed to meet again in a few weeks. After a few weeks, the transformation was remarkable. She was wearing bright colors. She'd had her hair done, and she was wearing makeup, and most important to me, she was smiling. She hadn't taken the herbs. She had an allergic reaction the first time she took them, so it wasn't the herbs that had done it. The changes had occurred because of her shift in energy and her exercise. As advised, she went to the park and sat on a bench to watch other people walking. She began to think, well, I can do that. She took a few steps on that first day and probably walked 1/8 of a mile. The next day, she walked more. By the time she came back to see me, she was up to walking 2 miles a day. She was also staying up for 5 hours after her workday, and her morning stretching was becoming a full 20-minute yoga routine. Both she and I could clearly see how this simple shift had so positively impacted her life. A change in movement became a change in self-care. The change in self-care had spilled over into all aspects of her life. She continued to incorporate more and more Ayurvedic diet and lifestyle recommendations, and she came back into a state of physical health, balanced energy, and happiness. I am most moved by the profound impact of simple changes. When you look at the world through the eyes of Ayurveda, you see doshas at play in the individual and in the movement of the day, the season, the life. I see the doshas in how we look, how we think, and how we act. Through that lens, I understand what is real about the person and what is not. The effect of the doshas is mutable, and the person behind the doshas is the real one. I believe in seeking out the person behind the dosha. And how can we seek out that person behind our dosha? With the Ayurveda experience, I'm excited to present the Ayurvedic Woman, Experience Symptom-Free Health, an HD program in 3 parts. The Ayurvedic Woman is the complete Ayurvedic guide to health issues peculiar to women. It will show you the way to get rid of the fearful symptoms of painful nights, embarrassing hot flashes, uncomfortable sweating, hard to manage bleeding irregularities, weakness, fatigue, depression, or mood swings. In younger years, it will guide you to enjoy radiant years of acne-free, PMS-free, energetic, productive life with all 5 signs of good health. In later years, it would enable comfortable, confidence-boosting transition into the next phase of your life, sexual freedom, and new, wholesome self-discovery with grace and ease. And most importantly, this program will help you experience true, symptom-free health. The program contains 3 parts, with part 1 being Introduction to Ayurveda. We'll answer the question, what is Ayurveda? Cover the Ayurvedic view of health and disease, the trifold cause of disease, the 3 pillars of health, understanding your dosha, and understanding that you are not Vata, Pitta, or Kapha. We'll take a look at Vata, the principle of movement, Pitta, the principle of transformation, and Kapha, the principle of stability. We'll look at the doshas and the causes of disease. We'll explore the 7 dhatu, the tissues of the body, the sites of disease. We'll look at how do the doshas affect your reproductive health and how you can take care of them. In part 2, we'll look at applying Ayurvedic principles to female reproductive health during the childbearing years. We'll also look at your menstrual cycle and fertility. What are the 6 signs of health in the female reproductive system? Understanding Ayurveda's view of menses and fertility. We'll look at dhatu. How does Vata affect your reproductive health? How does Pitta affect your reproductive health? And how does Kapha affect your reproductive health? We'll look at balanced menstruation and what are the symptoms of imbalance. We'll go deeper into the factors affecting reproductive health, how the endometrial lining shows rasa dhatu. We'll look at the factors affecting reproductive health of the egg. We call that shukra. We look at the quality of the shukra dhatu. We'll look at the factors affecting reproductive health, the fats and the omentum of the body, Meta Dhatu. We'll look at the factors affecting reproductive health, including the hormones, and of course, the factors affecting mental health, and we'll take a good long look at stress. We look at what you need to know about the endocrine system. What are the causes of hormonal imbalance? And what can any woman do to better manage her hormone levels? We cover menstruation, a plan to maintain balance all month long by pacifying Vata. Menstruation, we look at a plan to maintain balance all month long by pacifying Pitta. And we look at a plan to maintain hormone balance all month long by pacifying Kapha. How do we deal with menstrual symptoms? We'll talk about how to ease PMS, easing cramping, dealing with scanty menses, or managing long-duration menses. In Part 3, we look at a natural change of life, the Ayurvedic understanding of menopausal symptoms. What exactly is menopause, and what causes these menopausal symptoms? We look at the Ayurvedic interpretation of menopause and menopausal symptoms. We'll talk about something I call resting on our estrogen. And we look at what is perimenopause, symptoms of menopause, menopausal symptoms. What do they indicate, and how do we address them? We'll talk about hot flashes, and I'll introduce a tea called Rasa tea that helps to rebuild the Rasa Dhatu and ease hot flashes. We look at menopausal symptoms, what they indicate, and how to address them, including dry skin and vaginal mucosa. You can watch the program online or download it for viewing when you please, as often as you please. The program also comes with a free reference guide in a PDF format. You can choose to go through the program, practice the principles, and see the results for yourself. And if for any reason you feel it is not for you, you can simply write to us and get your money back. There is a 100% satisfaction 60-day money-back guarantee. Before you go ahead and begin the course, I also want you to know what motivated me to teach Ayurveda, to create this course, and to share my experience with the world. I want to educate and empower women to take charge of their reproductive health. Every month, women have the opportunity to assess how they are managing the tissues of the body and to get a glimpse into the impact of stress on their bodies and their minds. Through education, we learn the language of the body. We can interpret our regularity of menses and the quality of menstrual flow to understand the impact of the dosha in the body. Without this education, we may think that an imbalance is normal, or we may seek treatment that will relieve the symptom but will not eradicate the cause. I believe that we have the power in our hands to eliminate the causes of reproductive challenges, and I want to share that knowledge. I want to give women that power, the power to improve their overall health and their lives. In looking at menopause, I want to advocate for women to consider self-care prior to menopause. By learning the effect of hormones, we can apply practices to support balance when the hormones are not being produced. I want to educate and advocate for women to use natural treatments to alleviate symptoms they may experience, any symptoms they might experience prior to or during menopause, so that they can have that control over their mental and physical health. Life can be very long after menopause. It's best if those years can be free of symptoms driven by menopause. I firmly believe that our health is in our hands. This course is designed to give you practical dietary and lifestyle recommendations that you can apply in your life today to create better health now and in the future. Having seen the effects of Ayurvedic principles in myself, in the regulation of my menstrual cycle, in elimination of symptoms of PMS, in elimination of menstrual discomfort, and having dealt with the recovery of the health of my reproductive system after dire warnings from doctors, and having gone through menopause smoothly, I feel qualified and obligated to share these principles with as many women as possible. Ayurveda is affordable, accessible, and adaptable to every person's life. This is my ultimate goal, to see that people are aware that they have choices in how they treat their bodies. Ayurveda isn't something you have to go somewhere or have someone do for you. You have the power to change your life, and I hope you find the course helpful and experience true, symptom-free health for yourself, and share this knowledge with your daughters, your sisters, your friends, and even men for their increased consciousness and understanding. I applaud your interest in looking for ways to apply these principles to support moving from a space of discomfort to one of comfort and ease, and I will look for you on the other side.